Welcome to the Vol Bros presented by the Uldawalk Club. We are proud members of the Believe Podcast Network, and we are two Vol Bros who are actually bros in real life. And we are so glad you're with us this evening. It's certainly been an up and down weekend for Tennessee athletics this weekend. We've had so many, Tennessee Vol football players get drafted, signed free agent deals. Softball wins a road series, and baseball lets one slip right through their fingers. Let's start there. Ruston, what'd you take away from the baseball series this weekend?
Anytime you go on the road, it's going to be tough. Going on the road to a top 10 opponent in the SEC is even tougher. And we, sorry, I've got.
What is that? Well, here's my take on what we saw this weekend. It was really unfortunate that they lost Friday. You can never give a team, especially a team as good as LSU, free at-bats, free runs. And that's exactly what happened. Liam Doyle just dominates, pitches a masterpiece. And then defense lets it literally slip through their fingers. Then Saturday, they play extremely well. Great, especially in the eighth inning, great eighth inning. And then today they come out and jump out to an early lead, and then it's just all downhill really from there. So when you're playing on the road in the SEC, you have to take advantage of opportunities given to you, and they did not do that Friday night. So they should have won the series. Unfortunately, we walk away losing it because of defensive mistakes. What did you think?
Basically that. Sorry, my dog was going nuts trying to get in my office.
I thought that's what that was.
So, Marcus Phillips did a fantastic job. He threw extremely well. Liam Doyle threw extremely well. Nate Snead did his job. He came in and got the first three guys he faced out, and two of them didn't end up being outs. So they need A.J. Russell to get back to full strength. They really need Sunday to become A.J. and Nate Snead, and that's it. So that everybody else can back up Marcus and Liam on Friday and Saturday. I think if we can get to that place where it's Liam Doyle and some combination of one of the lefties and Tanner Franklin, and that's all you're going to need on Friday. On Saturday, Marcus Phillips, and then you've got the entire bullpen available depending on how far he goes. And then Sunday, A.J. Russell, Nate Snead. If we can get to there, we'll be absolutely fine. That's a tough place to play. It would have been nice to get out there with a series win. Should have come away with a series win. But I'm okay with winning one. We've got some injury issues. We got some things we got to figure out. If you can go down there and sneak out with a win, that's great. If you can get a conference or a series win, that's awesome. But bare minimum, you got to leave with one, and we did that.
Let's look at what people are saying in the comments. Nolan was the first one to comment at 8:30. That's impressive, Nolan. Glad you're with us. He's a channel member, as you can see there in his badge. Let's see here. Hey, Matt, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said, dang it, Nolan, you got me. He said, my baseball team got dominated today. Not looking good, y'all. They should have won the series. Like that's the bottom line. They should have won. If you go down and win 2 out of 3, I don't really care how the third game goes if you lose it. But if you won 2 of the 3 at LSU, that's a good weekend. And they should have. They just literally gave it away. Rhonda, welcome. There's a channel member. Good to see you, Rhonda. Dean Vols family. Hey, I will mention this as a reminder. If you join our channel on YouTube, if you join our channel by May 16th, you will get a free one-time 25% off discount code sent to you. For those of you who have already joined, I've sent that to everybody. I've made sure I have. whether any way I could get in touch with you, whether I was on Twitter or if I tagged you in a post on a community post on YouTube, or email if that was available. I got it to everybody. So if you join by May 16th, you get a 25% off discount code to use one time on our website, on our merch store. Let's see. Matt said we should have won Friday. We dropped the ball, so to speak. Yeah, for sure. And then they literally did that on Saturday with another foul ball dropping between people in foul territory. Unreal. Let's see. Rhonda said, hopefully May will look better for our baseball team. Jonathan said, hello, Evan, Ruston, and chat family. Rough weekend for the base Vols, but a good series win for the Lady Vols. Yeah, we're about to get to that too. Jonathan, glad you're with us. Nolan said, I've never seen a bigger implosion than Friday night's game. Yeah, and it has to be frustrating for Nate Snead because Nate hadn't had the best outings lately, and he goes out there and does his job and it doesn't get rewarded for it. Dester, good evening, buddy. There's another channel member. Good to have you. Let's see. Mississippi Vols said, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said, good evening, everybody. Not pushing the panic button yet on our Diamond Vols, but to say I don't have my finger on it is an understatement. Our bullpen has really struggled as of late. Let's see. Rhonda asked, what was all the back and forth between the teams? Really intense. There was definitely some chirping going on back and forth between the two teams. Ariel Antigua, there's debate on if he got hit intentionally Saturday. There was definitely some stuff going on. Josh, welcome, buddy. He said, no Xander Sechrist on the roster. That's the difference. Yeah. No, I don't know. I think we do have Xander Sechrist on this roster, actually. His name is Dylan Loy. He's the exact same type of pitcher, except he throws a little bit harder. But I understand, he's not maybe like a dog like people said Xander was, but I get that. Hey, let's see. Carl just joined the channel. Welcome, Carl. Glad you're with us, buddy. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you very much. We will get you your 25% off code for our website. Appreciate that. Let's see here. And I will say this. So depending on what level you join at, you get some different, perks, I guess you could say, with whatever level you join at. So our supporter level gets the custom emojis, the badges, priority replying comments. The honorary fan level gets behind the scenes videos. Man, I'm totally blanking now. Oh, access to our message board on our website. We have a message board on our website, so that they get access to that as well. And then the watch party fam gets access to watch parties where we're going to give away a free merchandise a thing off our item off our website each time. We're going to give. We'll have monthly members only live streams of the watch party fam level, and you also get a constant 15% off discount on our merch store at that level as well. So a lot of good stuff there. Let's see some of the other comments that came through. Josh said this team's lack of clutch hitting is worrisome. 27 left on base Friday and Saturday. Yeah, I mean, no doubt. Like, you got to have timely hitting, and just really unfortunate that we leave so many folks on base at times. Matt said we blew game one. What a heartbreaker! Absolutely. Josh said have to go 6-3 moving forward, 19-11 in conference to get a national seed. I mean, yeah, it's probably fair. Yeah. They got a tough road ahead of them, though. They got 3 really tough opponents on the horizon. Mississippi Vols said I said all that to say I still believe in Coach Vitale and his staff. Oh, for sure. I think eventually it'll click and come together, hopefully. But our softball team is still looking great. Good series win in Oxford. Yep. Nolan said, yeah, we just can't seem to get one home run double to drive in a couple runs. Unless you're Cannon Peebles on Friday night, and he did, but certainly today, yeah. Jonathan said the baseball game Friday probably should have been played Saturday. In my opinion, you shouldn't start a game at 10 p.m. Central Time. Totally agree. Totally agree. Mississippi Vols said, I agree about the clutch hitting. Seems they're either feast or famine. When it's famine season, it's been ugly. Mina Likey, welcome. There's a channel member. She said, be kind to our hosts and hit that like button. I think that's a great advice. Excellent advice. Text a buddy about the Vol Bros. Josh Carter said, this team's power is grossly overrated this year. Hit a ton of homers against bad teams. Don't hit homers against good pitching staffs. LSU had 8 homers to R1 this weekend. Fair point. Also, not a good situation when we're leaving balls up in the zone for them to, belt high fastballs are typically don't end well, and we did that a couple times. Let's see. Brennan, welcome, Brennan. Great to have you. He says, send me an invite to be a channel member. I've looked through my emails and spam, but can't find the invite. Great question. Okay, so if you go to,
I just posted it.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Let's see. Mina Laggy says she thinks it's intentional that Antigua got hit. Let's see. Josh said, are y'all ready to admit I was right on Curley's defense? It finally cost us a game. Well, I think Tony Vitello would agree because he didn't play in the field after that. He was DH in the last 2 games.
They've got to figure out who their non-best bats are with the least invasive defensive lineup possible. There's too many opportunities for easy outs. They're going to have to either bite the bullet and go with a less defensive lineup and put their 9 best bats out there, or decide to be a small ball team and start playing station to station and moving people, and put their best defensive team out there. Tony's MO has always been to play guerrilla ball. So I think if he can figure out how to get his 9 best bats in the lineup, Levi Clark being one of those, like, we got to find a way to get that dude in order. His power potential, in my opinion, drastically outweighs the swing and miss. Blake Burke, early in his career, Blake Burke struck out a lot, but we left him in the lineup because on any given at bat, he could put a ball 450 feet. So, I think they're going to have to just bite the bullet, figure out where they, I think Dean probably needs to go back to short. I like Ariel defensively, but he doesn't give you hardly anything offensively.
Yep.
And, if he's going to be in the lineup, he needs to be a small ball guy. He doesn't need to be trying to hit doubles off the wall. He needs to be moving people.
Absolutely. For those who are asking, on our YouTube channel page, youtube.com/@thevolbros, Ruston posted a link in the comments on Facebook and Twitter, or on Facebook and YouTube. Sorry. So if you're looking for that, you just go to that link, and there's a join button right by the subscribe button, and you can click that, and it'll get you right in there. Carl said, no guys with 20 plus homers, no 5 guys with 20 plus homers this year. Yep. Certainly was nice last year, wasn't it? Certainly was nice. Let's see here. I think I'm caught. Oh, no, I was not caught up on the Carl said Dean Curley struggling, killing errors, poor at bats, killer error. Yep, for sure. Josh said just a tough series to swallow. You're clearly the better team for 2 of the 3 games. 100% agree. Yes, 100% agree. They let it slip away. Matt said, where's our big transfer portal moves? Our Vols out of money? Getting worried about this year, Ruston and Evan. Yeah, so apparently they got a defensive tackle who visited this weekend. But yeah, man, I totally understand anybody being concerned about the lack of activity, because we had 20-something dudes leave and we've only had 4 join. So that math doesn't math. Josh said, I agree, Ruston. It's a rock and a hard place. Need Curly to figure it out ASAP. 100%. Yeah, absolutely. Josh said, Bargo in left field ain't an either. He looked lost out there today.
Yeah, I'm ready to see. Yeah. I'm ready to see Bargo come into third, Curly move to short, and either put Newstrom or God, sorry, my allergies are on overdrive. Either put Newstrom or Abernathy in left and DH Levi Clark.
Audrey, welcome, Audrey. Great to have you. There's a channel member. She's our investigative reporter, and she said, Matt, we're capped at 83 scholarships. We have 80 on roster, 2 promised for the summer, so we have 1 scholarship available. Mina Laggy said, we did look like Keystone Cops out there. Yes, we did. Matt said, bats and gloves lacking. Yep, for sure. John said, I think Phillips pitched well Saturday, but I still think he should probably move to the bullpen and let Russell start Saturday and leave Teagan starting Sundays. Teagan has struggled against SEC competition so far.
Mm-hmm.
Rhonda said, Audrey, you were impressive. I totally agree. Nolan said, Ariel seems like the kind of guy that needs to get good at finding the gaps in the defense or bunting well. Yeah, he's struggling at the plate a little bit. Sanders said, hey, Sanders, good to have you. She said, what do y'all think about the transfers the Lady Vols brought in? Nolan said, Kim Caldwell is cooking in the portal. Yes, she is. Incredible that 3 of them are 6'5". Like, I mean, she clearly had somebody, specific things in mind and said, okay, let's go get these people. And it's been very impressive what she's done in the portal. Very impressive. Ruston, you want to give your thoughts on that before we talk about Lady Vols softball?
I like Janiah Barker a lot. I actually watched her in high school. She's out of Atlanta. I think she's got a huge ceiling. I think that was a really good pickup. Need to see the Wolfenbarger girl play a little more. I think she's going to be good behind Z Spearman. I don't see her beating out Z or I'm blanking. The returning girl that plays the 4.
Harris?
No. But anyway, I like Nia Robertson a lot too. That was a good pickup. It'll be interesting to see. I think they probably still bring in one more. But it'll be interesting. Yeah, Alyssa Latham. I like Alyssa's motor. I haven't seen the Wolfenbarger play consistently hard, so I think she's probably a bench girl. But in this system, everybody's going to play about 15 to 18 minutes. So it'll be interesting to see how she transitions into this system. Love Nia Robertson. Think that was a fantastic pickup. And again, like I say, Janiah Barker, I'm a big fan of her. I see her being a huge pickup.
Josh said, I'm with Ruston. We need Russell to give us 4 on Sundays and Snead to finish it out. I'd almost at this point move Teagan Coons to our midweek starter. Let's see. He said, it also didn't help today. The home plate umpire had on a Tigers jersey. No kidding. He said, dude squeezed Russell and Coons big time and gave Case and Evans tons of strikes that were balls. Yeah, unless it was a belt high fastball, AJ Russell wasn't getting the call. It was kind of ridiculous, actually. Let's see. Mississippi Vols said, I'm so glad to see Kim go and get the big she's brought in. I think we missed a lot of that size on the inside this year, for sure. And Josh said there's a reason it's almost impossible to win a series in LSU. Rhonda said you should try taking local honey for your allergies. Mississippi Vols said, yeah, I knew what you meant. Let's see here. Well, the Lady Vols softball team, they'd won a series this weekend at Ole Miss, lost Friday night, but then bounced back and won the next 2. What do you think about their performance? Any SEC road win, no matter what sport it is a good win. So what do you think about that series win?
It's the same MO. The game they lost, only 2 girls outside of Taylor Panel had a hit. In the 2 games they won. One of them, almost everybody on the team had a hit. And then the game they won 6-0, there were 1, 2, 3, 4 girls outside of Taylor Panel who had a hit. So when it's when they're getting production from multiple girls in the lineup, they're hard to beat. And it's amazing how they literally ride and fall on that. If they get production from other people in the lineup, they're going to win. If they don't, they're going to lose. Like it's unbelievable how predictable they are.
Yeah, and the question then becomes: so since they lost one, do they drop out of the number 1 spot? I don't think so. I think they'll still be overall number 1. I think. Well, we'll know for sure tomorrow, but I think they will be.
We're at the season where we're at the point in the season where winning series is all that matters. If you win the series, you stay where you are.
Matt said the softball gals are killing it. Josh said, good to see the bats going today from the ladies. Absolutely. Sandra said she saw Wolfenbarger play at Arkansas, and she'll be a great pickup. Huge presence.
I'm just curious to see how she translates, because how LSU used her is different. How LSU used her is different than how she'll fit into this system. So it'll be, I think she'll be a good fit. I'm just kind of in a wait and see mode.
Mina Leggy said Rhonda's correct about the local honey, and she said elderberry syrup is good too. Let's see, Josh, I got that one. Carl, hey, Carl, I'm glad you said this, because I should have said this already and I forgot to. Carl said first school with first round draft picks in football, men's and women's basketball, and baseball, all in the same calendar year. First school ever in the history of athletics. He's exactly right. And talk about an everything school. Like, that's an everything school. Literally, we have the data to prove it. I mean, it's incredible what they've accomplished. Absolutely incredible. Josh said, we lost a game to Clemson and a game to Ole Miss where they didn't have a ball leave the infield. Think how crazy that is. Yeah, that's a fair point. Talk about needing to hit a little. Absolutely. We need the bats coming alive on those games for sure. Nolan said, yeah, winning 2-3 in a series is like getting C's and B's in school. Not the best, but it'll get you by. Matt, fellow Chattanoogan, he said, I think Ruston needs to suck it up, Buttercup. I eat pollen for breakfast. I think we all do, actually, in Chattanooga, because it's everywhere. Like, you walk outside and your car is coated with pollen. So if you just breathe, you're eating it for sure. Jonathan said, Aaron Newer is quickly becoming one of the better pitchers behind Carlin Pickens. Sandra said she agreed with you. Josh said, does Tennessee have the best pitcher in softball and baseball? I mean, statistically, I think you'd have to say yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's a great point. I hadn't thought about it like that, but you're exactly right. I mean, that's a great point. That's a really good point. Rhonda said, go Vols and Lady Vols, baby. Absolutely. She used her any 3 fans emoji there. So I hadn't heard back from StreamYard yet, but I'm going to try again this week. I'm going to give them like 1, maybe 2 more weeks. And if they don't get it fixed, we're going to go to Restream so that we can see our custom emojis on here and stuff and the badges. Nolan said that you're like his windshield in the morning. It's just pollen magnet. Josh said that's a good place to be when you got the number 1 pitcher in baseball and softball. Absolutely. John said, I hope the Lady Vols hitting is just getting used to the new hitting coach still and not the players just not listening to him.
Karen Weekly is a disciplinarian. That would not be an option. You will do what the coaches say on her roster.
To the 302 people watching across all 3 platforms, we appreciate y'all very much. Let's look ahead a little bit here. Let's look ahead to the future. So as we enter, it's crazy to think that this week the calendar will flip to May. Like, that's bizarre. How in the world does time fly that fast? It's ridiculous. But as we look ahead to this week, let's start with baseball. So baseball will host Northern Kentucky, the Norse. That's who we hosted last year, isn't it? In the regional.
Yep.
Or was it the super regional?
Regional.
So we'll host. I mean, that'll talk about a rematch. So that'll be good. That's Tuesday night. Then we host Auburn in a Friday through Sunday weekend series. So that's what the base Vols have on the horizon. The softball team they actually don't play again until Thursday. They have a Thursday through Saturday weekend series at home against Texas A&M. So if you want to see some Lady Vol softball and Vol baseball, this weekend would be the time to do it, because Friday and Saturday there will be softball games and baseball games happening on campus. So this would be the weekend to do it for sure. Let's see some of the other comments that came through there. Tony, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said this baseball team needs to get some dog in them. Ariel tried. Sanders said, do y'all think next year Lady Vols team will be better than this year's team? 100% yes. 100%. Not a doubt in my mind. If you have 5 of the top 60 players in America coming in, that's a good start. I really do think they'll be better. Josh said, I really hope the Bats get going at home against Auburn. This team needs a breakout sweep of the Tigers at home. 100% agree. 100% agree. Josh said, Tony V talked in postgame today how much the baseball team needed to play a good weekend at home. I think if we do it, it could really jumpstart this team. Yeah, I agree with you, man. Carl said, you're either a Vol or you're not, through thick and thin. 3 years ago, Mississippi State was last in the tournament, got hot, and won it all. Yeah, great point. Great point. Josh said, if softball wins 2 of 3 against A&M, they're guaranteed to finish no lower than second in the SEC, probably a top 2 national seed. Oh, that's good. That's a good stat right there. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that. That was a good one. Vols Titans 8, welcome, buddy. He said, I feel Tony has to figure the direction of his lineup. My opinion, he's putting too much faith in Dean. Got some uncomfortable decisions to make, I feel. That's fair. That's fair. Josh said if they win the series versus A&M, should be the number 1 overall seed above Oklahoma because of beating them at their place. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. For sure. Well, this has been a good evening with everybody. Ruston, you got anything else you'd like to talk about before we wrap up shop tonight?
Yeah, just the draft. I thought the 4 Vols that got drafted could not have asked for better situations. James Pierce Jr. is going to walk into the Falcons and be a day 1 starter. He's walking into a major position of need for them. You know, so if he plays at a halfway decent level, he's going to get a ton of snaps. Omar Norman Lott going in the second round was fascinating. You know, we've watched him for years, just play with an insanely high motor. And, you know, I don't think anybody should ever question the Kansas City Chiefs' ability to evaluate talent. They do a better job in the draft than just about anybody. So the fact that they picked him in the second round, and if you look at their defensive tackle depth chart, there's not much there. So they clearly saw a guy with a really high motor who is going to be cheap for 3 years, and, you know, they can save some money for other positions. I think Omar Norman Lott may start for them. And if he doesn't start, he's going to get a ton of snaps.
Right.
Dante Thornton may have gotten drafted into the absolute best situation of anyone because the Raiders wide receiver room is awful. There is nobody in there. And that is a coaching staff who likes to take deep shots. So Dante Thornton is going to walk into a situation where every third play they're going to be looking at him going, yeah, just take off. Just go. I don't know that he could have asked for a better situation. And then Dylan Sampson, he's basically already made the roster with the Browns.
Right.
As of today, the Browns have a total of 4 running backs. He's one of them, and it's pretty much going to be him, Jerome Ford, and Quinshawn Judkins. The fourth guy is going to be sent to the practice squad. So Dylan's already made the roster. Then you look at the undrafted free agents. I thought the Saints did a fantastic job getting Amari Thomas. I think he'll have a really long NFL career, even if it's on a practice squad or a two-way guy going back and forth between the squad and the practice squad. He's just a huge body and he plays hard, and so I think he'll probably stick. I don't know about Elijah Simmons in Arizona. That's not a great landing spot for him. I don't know that he's going to make that team. And then how about the Chiefs undrafted free agent Will Brooks?
That's what I was going to mention. Yeah.
What on earth? Like, I did not see that coming. And who saw Will Brooks getting an undrafted free agent spot before Brew McCoy? That blew my mind. Again, the Chiefs are fantastic talent evaluators. Who knows? Maybe he'll make a practice squad. Maybe they saw something they really like. But
they're like, man, this dude has shades of Eric Berry.
I was shocked by that one. And I'm also shocked that I don't think yet. I know Brew was talking to the Raiders, but I don't think Brew has signed yet, which really surprises me.
Jonathan said, I think the baseball team will probably win every game this week, and the ladies, I hope, win at least 2 games. Yeah, for sure. Josh said, Tony did say no more Mr. Nice Guy in the post game. We'll see what that means. Yep. Bobby, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said, Bobby said, any updates on the Vols signing a shooting guard? Well, I saw today that there's another guy visiting this week.
Yeah.
Former Ole Miss and Louisiana Tech player.
Yeah, he averaged 13.5 a game this year, shot 37% from 3. Think he's a depth guy. I don't think they plan on him being the starter, but yeah, he's visiting soon, if not already.
Sanders said, I just want Talasia Cooper to work on not turning the ball over. Amen. Amen.
Well, The nice thing is we've got one of the Paldo twins and we've got Nia Robertson now. So Talasia Cooper never has to bring the ball up ever again. She can go be an athlete. She can run off screens. She can curl and attack the basket. She does not have to be a primary ball handler, and that's to everyone's benefit.
Josh said, what about Mel Kiper's meltdown this weekend? Dude was acting like Shadur Sanders' agent.
I thought he was on the take. I was like, how much is Dion paying you for this?
Well, the only comment anybody needs to read about that whole situation came out today. And, for anybody who didn't know, Shadur Sanders was drafted by the Cleveland Browns after the Cleveland Browns had already selected Dylan Gabriel. So they drafted 2 quarterbacks in the same class. And Dion came out today saying that he wants to talk to the Browns agency. He said it'll be handled accordingly. When he was asked about, Shadur being drafted in the same, draft group as Dylan Gabriel, he said it'll be handled accordingly. Shadur doesn't take a backseat to nobody. So Dion wants to go talk to the Browns on behalf of Shadur.
Can't fathom why he slipped to the 5th round.
Yeah, exactly.
And the and the Browns front office looked thrilled to death to take him. Those videos were absolutely hysterical. Like, it was crystal clear that the owner told them, take him here.
Yeah.
They didn't want him.
Carl said Dean needs to get rid of number 1 until he earns it. Worth a try? Yeah, who knows, man? Hey, try anything as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I don't, that might send a bad message, but if it was Dean's idea, then that would be a whole other thing. That'd be cool. Audrey said, I thought Brew was taken as an undrafted free agent with the Raiders too.
I know they were talking. I just looked it up real fast. He still hasn't signed. I know he was in discussion with them, but they haven't done anything with him.
Mississippi Vols said Mel Kiper was saying he didn't like the pick of Omar Norman Lott to the Chiefs. I'm surprised he even noticed as much as he talked about Shadur Sanders. Is he his agent or something? Wow.
Mel doesn't like any pick that goes against what he thinks teams should do. And it's amazing how often he's wrong, and somehow he keeps his job. It blows my mind.
Herb asked if there's any news on men's basketball recruiting, but I think he asked that before you were answering the other one, so I think we're good there. Carl said Mel Kiper is a stooge, a rich stooge, but still a stooge. Rhonda said the Titans could have used Shadur. I think that's who she was talking about. Maybe not. I don't know. Or maybe it was Brew. Maybe that's who she's talking about.
I think that's when we were talking about Dante Thornton.
Oh, gotcha. Let's see. Josh is 100% correct in this. He said Quinn Ewers should have stayed in college and transferred to Tennessee. Yeah.
He'd be making a whole lot more money than he will be in the NFL.
Yep, that's exactly right. He just took a massive pay cut to go to the NFL. So yeah, he should have. Josh is 100% correct. Jonathan said, congrats, Ruston, on your Falcons getting James Pierce. My Titans seem to do decent, but they'll probably screw it up somehow. Audrey said the Falcons definitely loaded up on defense for sure. No doubt about it. Big Orange, welcome, buddy. He said, should we be concerned about our base Vols? Still think we make the World Series, but I'm iffy on if we repeat as champs. Either way, though, we were rock stars last year and winning 16 games. Do I think they make the College World Series this year? Yeah, I still think they do. It's hard to say if anybody's ever going to repeat, because if you just make it to Omaha, that's a heck of a season. I mean, that's really all you can ask for. If you win it all twice, I mean, that's just unreal. It's amazing. Herb said, any news on, we already talked about that. Let's see. Backflip Spaghetti. Hey, good to see you. So howdy, fellas. Baseball. Sometimes you got to be humbled to see where you're weak. Football, I'm waiting for the first game to see what happens, hoping for the best, but not speculating. Yeah. I'm with you 100% on both of them. Josh said, do we know any more about the Gainey situation? If he's not coming back, I'd be really worried about our shooting guard spot. Seems we're missing in the portal on that spot.
It's still in the courts, but I would say it's looking really good for two reasons. Number one, that video he posted that was not at all hinting, like that was very clear what he was saying. UT would not have let him make that video and post it in Thompson Bowling Arena. So the fact that he posted it tells me that Tennessee feels very good that he's coming back. The second thing is Darlington Dubar entering the portal. Darlington Dubar's done.
Yeah, he doesn't have any eligibility left.
Yeah, and he can't come back to Tennessee because they gave away his scholarship to somebody else. So the only reason he would be entering the portal, and he's in the same class as Jordan Gainey, is he has found out that they're probably about to win that case, and they're both going to get eligibility.
Let's see. Backflip Spaghetti said Kim is the queen of the transfer portal right now. Agreed. Let's see. Josh said, I hate that Samson went to Cleveland. Such a joke organization. Carl said, love Ruston's views on NFL postseason, even with post-nasal drip. Josh said, I predict Shadur Sanders gets cut before the season even starts. Deion's going to pull those antics. They'll just cut him. Yeah, probably.
I don't know what it's going to take to get them to realize that he needs to back off and let his son be a man. Like it is mind blowing to me. I don't know how you can sit there and watch a kid who was originally supposed to be a first round pick drop to the 5th round. Watch a team draft him in the 5th round who clearly did not want him and were forced to pick him, and still sit there and go, hey, we need to talk. We're going to have a conversation. What? Like,
Nick Iamaleava needs to be taking notes of this, by the way.
The other thing that's been blowing my mind is how many NFL executives are being very quick to leak to the media their conversations with Shador. Like, they're not holding back. They're all saying they want to be anonymous, but they're giving the media all kinds of ammunition. The most recent one being the one where Shador walked into a meeting with the Giants and basically told him he hadn't looked at anything and didn't know what they were talking about and didn't really seem to care. That's just mind-blowing.
Sanders asked, have you noticed the difference in excitement revolving around the Lady Vols since Kim came in? Feels like we have something exciting to look forward to. 100% agree. Yes.
Something happened on the recruiting trail this weekend, and I'm curious to see when we see an announcement, but Gabe Lazo posted a picture of Kim, and they were both celebrating, and Gabe insinuated that an elite player had just picked Tennessee, and it was because of Kim. It was her being in attendance, talking to the player, that she had convinced them to come to Tennessee. And he's talking like huge name. So I'm very curious to see who that is in the 26 class that apparently is about to commit.
She can recruit, man. She can recruit. Matt said, what about Jacoby Thomas? Have we heard anything about him?
So that one's fascinating. So he never entered the portal. He never finished the process. At no point did his name ever show up in the portal. He kept hinting he was going in the portal, but he never did it. Well, the portal's closed. So he's a Vol.
Yep, that's exactly right. The portal, if you were going to enter the transfer portal, you had to do it by Friday night, this past Friday. And you didn't. So, welcome back, Jacoby. We're glad you're with us still. We're sure you watched the show. Rhonda clarified, you're right. She was talking about Dante Thornton. Robert, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said, is Jimmy Haslam still part owner of the Browns? Believe so.
Yep.
When we were talking about Quinn Ewers, Audrey said, it was $8 million he was offered last to come back versus $1 million that he'll be less than $1 that he'll receive now.
Yep.
Mississippi Vol said you had to be on cloud 9 to see James go to the Falcons.
Yeah, I didn't like our first pick. Jalen Walker was not. I didn't want him, but it was cool to see James end up. He'll get to play immediately. The Falcons need help there.
Tony said, if Tony Vitello wants his best hitter to lead off, why isn't Keelan leading off? Curley is not a leadoff hitter.
I think you may see that get shaken up. And I'll be honest, if they do move Gavin Keelan to leadoff and they go with the best 9 bats in the lineup, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Jay Abernathy hitting 2-hole. I think what they'll probably do is they'll try either Dalton Bargo or Reese Chapman there first. But I would love to see Gavin Keelan hitting singles and doubles and then having Jay Abernathy coming up behind him with the potential to lay down a bunt, put a ball in play and beating it out, putting pressure on the defense with speed.
Yep. Carl said no elite teams in baseball this year. I think that's pretty fair. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Big Orange said Vols will be home for the next couple weekends. I don't know there's any way we lose either of those series. Well, I mean, there's ways we could lose. We've demonstrated that. We should have won this weekend. But Friday night, we were like, hey, let's just give them the series. Or at least game 1 at that point. I think some folks.
Yeah, but they are a different team at home.
I agree. Robert said all these people downing Tony need to go talk to Danny White in the morning and take over his job.
Right.
Big Iron said LSU fans are laughing now, but will they be laughing next week or the week after? Rebel G, welcome, buddy. He said, good evening, y'all. Joining late, but still made it. So how do y'all feel Sampson will do with the Browns? I think he's going to get a bunch of carries, personally.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think him and Quinchon are going to be the two primary backs, if I had to guess. But
they'll probably go with 3. Jerome Ford's pretty good. He's a veteran. He was one of their best running backs this past year, so they'll probably rotate all 3.
Josh said, why do y'all think we didn't go after Malaysia Fulili? She would thrive in Kim's system. Well, we might have. We don't know. Like,
I would almost guarantee we didn't. That's a locker room issue that nobody wants. She'll be a perfect fit at LSU.
Backflip Spaghetti said, Boo Carter said that Jacoby Thomas wasn't leaving. Boo Carter had some interesting comments about Nico today in the Chattanooga Times Free Press.
Yep.
He said that Nico left his boys in the dark. And I was like, oh, interesting. Let's see. Hey, Carl.
Doesn't work.
He said he has a donation for you. I appreciate that, Carl, very much. Thank you.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Very kind of you. Carl said Dion's ego is ginormous, having Shadur's number retired and in the Ring of Honor. Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah. You go 7-4 in one season, and then the next year you do a little bit better and you get your number retired. Matt said we definitely need Jacoby Thomas bad at this point. I agree. Rebel Juice said, did y'all see Shadur get pranked? Not big on him for obvious reasons, but that was so wrong. Apparently, he was an NFL coach's son.
Not only was it an NFL coach's son, so again, my Falcons, it was our defensive coordinator, Jeff Ulbrich. It was his son, and he did not know that Shadur had gotten a new phone just for the draft, and every NFL franchise had his new phone number. And it was on Jeff Ulbrich's desk on a roster, and his son saw it and decided to copy it down real fast to pull off the prank during the draft. So it was actually Atlanta's defensive coordinator's son who did it. And he is he's in some pretty hot water right now.
For sure. It's just, it epitomizes what our culture has become. Do something, record it, and be TikTok famous for 15 minutes and that kind of thing. Here's Josh's proposed batting lineup for Tony. He said Gavin Keelan, Lee Noffreese, Chapman second, Fisher third. So you'd have lefty to start the lineup. And then Hunter Inslee fourth, Dalton Bargo fifth, Dean Curley sixth, Cannon Peeble seventh, Manny Marin, and then Ariel Antigua. So it'd be lefty, righty, lefty, righty, switch, righty. Just something to consider. You might want to switch a couple people around just to get, back and forth a little bit more. But, I mean, Gavin Keelan at the leadoff spot, that you can't go wrong with that. That'd be a great move. Mississippi Vols said we lost to Kentucky at home last week. Kentucky, Auburn, and Vandy are more than capable of doing the same. I totally agree. Yeah, I mean, you can't take a series off. You just can't do it. That's exactly correct. Audrey said, did you see that Arkansas is considering suing the 2 players that left? I have not seen that.
Yeah, you did. We talked about this. Madney Amaliav is one of them.
Then yeah, I did see that.
we talked about Thursday night. Remember, I said the entire country's watching this, and if they end up moving forward with it, you're going to see a bunch of other schools start suing too. And honestly, I hope they win because I think this is what's going to lead to the buyout.
Yep. Carl liked my text a buddy comment. Josh said Nico was a loner. Apparently, including avoiding the media too. Tony said nobody is down on Tony V, but he needs to make changes. Agreed. Matt's also giving you some medical advice there. Tony said, yes, we can lose at home. Yep, we can. Sam, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said, what impact does Nico leaving his boys have on the team and other players who may have considered entering the portal, especially seeing Nico lose money? Oh, good point.
I think the response around the team has said it all. I don't think anybody's crying any tears.
Yep. That's a good question, Sam. Josh said, we're just left heavy. Don't know how to get around it. Well, that's fair. Yeah. Big Orange said, I'm not one to be mean to college football players, but they're all grown young men, and I hope to see Nico get humbled even more. Well, they are grown men, and they should be acting as such, but Nico has certainly, apparently, a lot of growing up to do. And until his dad gets out of the way, it's going to be hard. And I said this the other night, and I'll say it again now. I don't understand, if you are Deshaun Foster at UCLA, how you can look at your players in the eyes after you have let the parent of one of, not even a player on your team yet, control your roster and control what you do on your team. Madden Iamaleava flipped from UCLA on National Signing Day, leaving them high and dry. How in the world do you then allow that kid's dad to convince you to sign his brother and sign him back after he betrayed you the first time? How in the world do you look at your team? I mean, this is a player's dad running a Division I Power 4 college football team.
Do you know they're in Los Angeles?
Oh, is that where USC is?
Yeah. Same town.
I'm still just shocked. I don't know how he looks at his. I don't know how his players respect him after that. I mean, just unreal. Let's see. Ruston said his proposed lineup would be Keelan, Chapman, Fisher, Inslee, Bargo, Curley, Peebles, Levi Clark, and then Abernathy. So where would you have Bargo and Abernathy in the field?
Abernathy and left. Abernathy and left. Bargo at third.
And Levi Clark's the DH?
Yep.
So you have them starting lefty as well.
I don't think that's avoidable because even if you move Abernathy up to the 2-hole, it's another left-handed bat. And honestly, I mean, as a former college pitcher, I didn't want to see that. I faced a team once in college that had 9 left-handed bats in the lineup. It was terrifying. Like, there's only so much you can do with that, and you know, especially if you're right-handed, there's only so much you can throw at those guys, and you're going to leave one in the middle of the plate, and it's going to run right into the path of their barrel. So I'm not concerned about the fact that we have a bunch of left-handed bats. You know, I'm more concerned that we go back to playing guerrilla ball, and I just don't think we can worry about defense at this point. I think we just got to go score runs.
You know, like you said, they hired our NCAA lawyer. Mississippi Vols said it's Tom Mars who they got. Let's see. Audrey said they won't win it, but the threat of it should help out.
Yep.
You know, like I said, it'll be interesting, win or lose. Rhonda said Shadur would have been better off to play for someone else in college besides his dad. Probably would have helped him.
I don't think that was ever an option.
Sanders said, I think next year's Lady Vols team will put Tennessee back on the map nationally because we should be top 5 if they gel together. Yeah, I mean, I think an Elite 8 is at least the goal or expectation amongst the team next year. They're going to try to make a Final Four, obviously, but
yeah,
I think
I think when Kim Thompson said that their goal for this year is to average 97 a game, everybody should have been concerned as soon as she said that, because it said she knows what she has and she thinks they can do it. And if they if they average 97 points a game, oof, we're going to be selling some tickets.
Yeah, for sure. Josh said, "Did you see Sean Foster's press conference?" Yeah, that's what Ruston was referring to. And then he was like, "It's the same city where USC is." just talking about it.
Again, the best part of the whole thing is the fact that he's the coach at UCLA, and he's talking to the media, who apparently he wasn't sure if they knew what LA stands for.
Yeah. Unreal. Somebody might have wanted to prep him before he got up there. Here's some talking points. Stay away from geography. Carl said Dion and Big Nick are the same. Matt said UCLA lost their other quarterback too. Yeah, they did. He's a Vol now. Big Orange said the problem with young men today is that they used to be looked at as grown men. At 18, now you have to be 25 plus to be considered a grown man. It's ridiculous. No arguments here, buddy. Rhonda said, didn't UCLA have more quarterbacks leave? I thought I saw something about that. Yeah, they did. Tulsa Vol, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said Dean has a longer throw problem in his head. He does not need to be at third or short. Levi can play second catcher, third, left, first, all well. Let Manny Marin and Ariel replace an infield when we have a lead.
Yeah. I have nothing against late inning defensive substitutions. That by all means do that. But we've got to get our 9 best bats in the lineup.
Josh said our lefty hitters actually hit lefty pitching well. Yes, they do. Jonathan said, what was Wes Rucker talking about with James Pierce and character issues? I've never heard anything like that. I haven't either.
It wasn't him. He was talking about there were some NFL executives who were making that statement, and nobody really knew where it was coming from. But I think character issues may have been misconstrued for effort issues. You know, James Pierce tends to take some plays off. They even talked about it live when he was drafted. You know, if he plays full throttle every down, he's going to have a long career.
Sam said, Big Nick running UCLA into the ground and getting the head coach fired could be the next chapter in the Ian Aliava saga. I mean, it's got a Netflix series written all over it, doesn't it?
Yeah. Somebody needs to let Mark Nagy know he needs to start preparing for his next decade of dysfunction.
Yeah. Robert said Nico's dad probably had a skybox for the Dodgers put in the contract. Josh said, if Lady Vol scored 97 a game, just give us the trophy. Absolutely. Audrey said it. LA stands for Lower Alabama.
True.
Here in Chattanooga, Chat State is off of Amnicola Highway, and so everybody says University of Chattanooga left of Amnicola at UCLA. That's what it stands for here. Jonathan said, I always wondered what the LA stood for in UCLA. LOL.
Shocker.
It still blows my mind that he said that in his first ever introductory press conference at Big Ten Media Days. I'm like, dude, that's just not good. Tony said the Lady Vols can win almost every game with 87 points if they learn to play a little defense.
So that was what was interesting about Kim making that comment. She said that if they were 10 points better this year, that they would have won the national championship. And so it wasn't about getting better defensively. It was, dadgummit, we're going to score 10 more points a game. So she wasn't at all concerned about the defense. She wanted to figure out how they could average 97 instead of 87.
Bleed Orange, welcome. Good to have you. He said, do you think this is Tony V's worst team in a few years? No, I do not. I think this is actually one of his most talented teams he's ever had at Tennessee.
Yeah. They're still trying to figure out how it all fits.
Yeah, exactly.
And they've had some injury issues. You know, they've got some guys that are banged up. They got some guys that are on rehab. I mean, AJ Russell goes out there and starts today, but he had a 35 pitch threshold on him. He was going 2 innings tops. You know, They just got to get healthy.
Big Orange said, "Do you think Nico would tell his dad to back off if at some point, if like I've been saying, what happened to the college football players being men? I don't think that's an option for him, unfortunately."
No. In the Polynesian culture, whatever dad says goes, period. No conversation.
Rhonda said, "We get the bats going, everything else will follow for sure." Sanders said, "I want Kanai Boyd and Kaya Wynn to take a step offensively."
Yep.
Kanaya, I think we saw her take a step last fourth of the season last year. All of a sudden, she was attacking the basket really well, and so hopefully that just gets even better.
I'm looking forward to seeing Kaya Wynn in this system. She had an injury and had to rehab, and she fits this system really well.
Jonathan said, "Will they make a 30 for 30 about the Imaliava song?" Maybe. Who knows? How many pitchers, Josh said, how many pitchers do you think Tony Vitello trusts at this point? I think more than 4.
Liam, Marcus, AJ, Nate,
Dylan
Loy, Tanner Franklin.
Yeah.
I'd say those 6.
At least. You could also add in Arvidsson.
I don't think he trusts him right now. He's leaving a lot of fastballs in the middle of the plate recently.
You could add in Tegan Coons.
I think if Braden Krenzel were healthy, I would put him on that list.
Rebel Juice said, if Shadur was able to come back to college football, do you think he would? How do you think he would have done it quarterback as Tennessee? Well, I don't think it would be an option. I don't think his dad would let him. He would be playing for his dad, no matter where. Carl said, "I remember the year before last year, Simo and Burke were swinging it low and away. Bad shades of this now." Sam said, "I wonder."
In the midst of all this, we definitely have lost our poise. We're chasing pitches that early in the season we weren't chasing, and we've got to get back to being more disciplined.
Sam said, "I wonder if Nico's arrogance will have him enter the draft next year after a bad season at UCLA." Yes, it will. I'm calling that right now. Josh said, "Doyle and Phillips have to be lights out to get this team to Omaha." Agreed. And Doyle definitely is right now. Oriole Puppy Dog said, "I felt bad for a baseball team." Hey, welcome, Oriole Puppy Dog. Felt bad for a baseball team this weekend. I couldn't finish watching the third game. Should have won the series yesterday, and unfortunately Friday night we let one slip away.
One other thing they could do with Sunday, and honestly, I'd kind of like to see it. They could start Dylan Loy and let him go be a Bulldog and see how far they can ride him, and then bring in AJ Russell after him. As much off speed stuff as Loy throws, AJ's 95, 96 will look like 98, 99 after that. It'll make AJ more effective. Wouldn't mind seeing that next Sunday.
Absolutely. I Bleed Orange asked a good question. He said, "Why would a team even draft Nico? He is mid at best. Defense carried the team last year, and Dylan Sampson." I agree with you. So let me clarify what I meant when I said that just a second ago. Do I think Nico enters the draft next year? Yes. Do I think Nico gets drafted? No. Look at what happened with Shadur this year. Shadur's a better quarterback than Nico, and Shadur dropped all the way to the 5th round because people didn't want to deal with his dad. Right? Well, Nick Iamaleava is even more involved than Dion is. So why in the world would you draft Nico knowing that you got even more of the issue that kept Shadur from being drafted this year? It's just not gonna happen. Teams, he'll sign an undrafted free agent deal somewhere, but he will not be drafted next year. Audrey said, "Nico is not mid. He needs more development. Remove his dad, but he is not mid."
He definitely needs more development.
Agreed.
I mean, we're talking about a kid who was 7th out of 16 quarterbacks in the SEC this season. And if Dylan Sampson's not on the field, I'm not sure he's 7th. So, teams had to really honor Dylan. I'll be very interesting to see what happens. Let me check one thing real quick.
Carl said we seem to not be squaring up the bats. Couple should have been homers, but didn't hit it solid. Big Orange said, y'all think we're staring down the barrel of another 8-4 season in football? Potentially. I mean, here. All right, while you're doing that, Josh said he's not accurate, which you have to be in the NFL. No doubt. Nolan said Nico is either going to play well and go third round or not play well and may go undrafted if he doesn't stay for a fourth year in college. The only reason I think he might stay in college is because he will end up making more money as a fourth year player in college than he would as a rookie in the NFL and undrafted free agent, which is why he might stay because his dad wants the money. I mean, that's bottom line. So that may be the only reason why he stays.
All right. So I think the biggest thing that's going to be interesting to watch this year is, and I wanted to look it up to make sure I was saying the right person. So UCLA went and hired Tino Sunseri, as in Sal Sunseri's son, away from Indiana to be their offensive coordinator. Tino was the offensive coordinator at James Madison with Kurt Signetti. And then he went from JMU to Indiana with Signetti. So very different system than what Heupel runs. It is a true spread with a lot of inside and outside zone where the quarterback has to be a runner. So it's going to be interesting to see how Nico handles the abuse, because in that system, he's going to take a lot of shots. And so we're going to find out real quickly how much he's going to develop, because he's going to take some hits in that system, way more than he did at Tennessee. And they don't hide their quarterbacks. Their quarterbacks are running weapons. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how he develops in that.
Carl said 8-4 is actually decent. I mean, here's the thing. Like, if we're just talking about next year's schedule, I mean, we start the season with a neutral site game against Syracuse. That's not going to be an easy game, honestly. But I don't think we beat Georgia next year. That we host them. I don't think we win in Alabama, and I don't think we win at Gainesville. So that's 3 right there. And so, I mean, if you lose one more, you're at 8-4. That could be Syracuse. It could be Arkansas, which I don't think we'll lose to Arkansas. I think that's going to be a revenge game for Heupel. So if you lose to Syracuse, if you lose to Arkansas or Mississippi State, or Oklahoma, I don't think we'll lose to Oklahoma either. But you know, it very well could be 8-4. I hope I'm wrong, but we'll see what happens. I Bleed Orange said, I have a feeling guys were to have a 2022 season. Joey Aguilar predicting will play like Hendon Hooker. I hope you're right. I just don't see it. Like, I mean, here's the thing. There was a reason why he ended up at UCLA, you know? Like there's a reason why he wasn't ending up at major top 10, top 20 programs from last season as a transfer. It's because his talent level. I would love to hype this guy up and be like, he's the second coming of Hendon Hooker. I would love to do that, but I can't because he ended up at UCLA. Like that's the thing. So I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he comes in and tears it up. But I mean, I'm be honest with you, I don't even know if he's the starting quarterback in August of whatever it is, 30th. He might get beat out by Jake Merklinger or George McIntyre. So I can't say that, you know, he's going to be the second coming of Hendon yet. Because there's a reason why other massively successful programs weren't going after him in the portal.
It's good that he's going to get to graduate from App State. So that's going to allow him to get to campus a little sooner. He's going to be able to get there early May, mid-May, somewhere in there. The hard part for him, and here's it, we just don't know, and until we actually see some practice footage, we're not going to know. My gut is we went out and got Seth Littrell because we're going to add some air raid concepts, shallow cross, mesh, some concepts that we badly needed this past year and couldn't run. And it would have made everybody better, including Nico. The other thing we did was we went and got Landry Jones and, to bring in some pro concepts into the system. If, we heard rumors that during spring practice, they were working out of the pistol. That's probably from Landry Jones. So if they can go back to running at pace and playing really fast while running hypel system plus some set calls out of the air raid plus some set calls out of the pistol, that's a lot to learn for Joey Aguilar. And Mac and Merck have a step up on him there. If they really are going to add all this, and I hope they are, because you run all of that effectively at speed, all of a sudden Miles Kitselman is an absolute threat. All of a sudden Ethan Davis is an absolute threat. You've got a three-headed monster in the backfield at running back that can all make plays, and they're coming at you from a wide range of angles and with lead blockers and pullers, catching the ball out of the backfield against the mesh, like so many things you can do with those guys. And then where it gets even better is in a wide receiver room where you've got a bunch of young guys and, they're still learning. You can have some set calls where they're not reading the defense. They're just running a route. When we call mesh, we know the two outside guys are running verticals. The inside slot on the right's running a 10-yard drag. The inside slot on the left's running a 5-yard drag. The back's going to flare out one side or the other. We already know that's the route we're running. We're not reading anything. We're just sprinting there as fast as we can go. Well, when you've got Boo Carter in the slot and you can tell him, hey, when we call mesh, you're just getting across the field as fast as you possibly can at 5 yards. He can go do that, and you can give him the ball. Braylon Staley, he can go run a route. He doesn't have to read everything. And, all of a sudden you've got options, and you can start picking spots to attack the defense, and quarterbacks aren't having to read everything, and receivers aren't having to read everything. So I think if they can add all that, I think that's a huge plus. And if they can do it at mock speed, it's almost unstoppable.
Audrey made a good point. She said Aguilar doesn't seem to be comfortable running the ball, and we have 7 receivers. Half of them are young. I mean, you're right. It's not a recipe for success.
We talked about this Thursday. I'm not a fan. He can't run the ball. He's not mobile at all.
Rebel Juice said Nico and his dad, Shadur and his dad, have a lot in common. But yeah, Nico might go undrafted. I agree. He'll be an undrafted free. If he goes next year, it'll be an undrafted free agent contract. Mississippi Vols said you also have to factor in the dud coach hype seems to have every year. That's 4 right there. He's like, we have one bad game each season. Let's see. Big Orange said, is Florida really going to be back this year? Or did they fool everyone by finishing the season strong? He said, I honestly think we could win in the Swamp this year. I think you could win any game. I agree. Statistically speaking, I do not like going to Gainesville this year because their quarterback, DJ Lagway, is better than anybody we have on our roster at quarterback. That's why he was picking us apart last year in Neyland as a true freshman. So that's why I'm not super excited to go play him this year in Gainesville.
Yeah.
Rebel Juice said Nico's going to be a Memphis showboat in the UFL.
Speaking of the UFL, the Houston Brahmas currently have, as we're speaking, have Jarrett Garantano in at quarterback.
Nice. Tony said 8-4 would be a good season. We're going to lose at least 3 no matter who the quarterback was. Heupel always loses a game he shouldn't. Carl said, hard to say what he can do within Heupel's system with better talent. That's fair. That's fair. Absolutely. Jonathan, in response to Nico being a Memphis showboat in UFL, said, I don't think Nico will be allowed to return to the state of Tennessee. That's funny. Matt said, can we talk about NIL money concerns? If we're low on money, we're totally cooked. I don't think we're low on money.
I have never heard one credible person make that statement.
Audrey asked, what was the name of the guy you said on our coaching staff that acts as a GM?
Billy Ray. Billy Ray. I'm going to say the wrong. I want to say it's Billy Ray Johnson. I feel like I'm butchering his name though.
Not Billy Ray Cyrus. It's not Billy Ray Cyrus. Although that would be cool.
his job title is chief of staff. Yeah, Billy Ray Johnson.
Let's see. Nolan asked a great question. It's a great point. He said, is it realistic to expect a brand new quarterback and a bunch of younger players to pick up a newly tweaked offense and the tempo?
Yes, because the newly tweaked offenses or offense are set plays that every offense has. So there's high probability that Joey Aguilar has run those same schemes at other places. And if any of them played for a high school that ran typical spread, they've all run mesh. They've all run shallow cross. They know those plays. My thing is, I want to see us install those plays so that we can quickly go to a play at pace that doesn't require the young receivers to have to read anything. It's just I'm sprinting to that spot. That's my route. And I think that'll actually make us better.
Sorry, I just got a funny text. You know how the new Apple AI will paraphrase a text on the home screen. I just got a text from Ginger. So our son apparently has a stomach virus. He vomited earlier today. Apparently he vomited again like 10 minutes ago. So I just got a text from Ginger, and I looked down at my phone, and on the caption of it, it said, Audrey's exhausted, arguing about clothing, leggings, and hair. Cam vomited. That's how it paraphrased it.
Bullet format.
Yeah. So, man, she's having a rough time down there. Shout out to our wives, by the way, for holding down the fort every Thursday and Sunday night from 9 to 10. We appreciate you all very much. Matt said we're getting smoked at the swamp. Maybe. I agree. Maybe.
I refuse to predict any of that until August. Yeah. I want to see these rosters. I want to see who's eligible. I want to see who gets picked up late. I want to see who's injured. There's just too many moving parts.
So when I turned my lights off because I could smell them starting to get a little, melty over there. Like said, you need to get some battery powered lights. And Jonathan said, we need to start a GoFundMe for Evan to get new lights. Let's see. Vols Titans 8 said, I feel the recruiting has been solid, not elite. Portal, not that good. Losing more than gaining with depth issues. The next 2 years may be rough. Carl said, I think they're being good stewards of the NIL money. They see 90% of players are overvalued right now.
Yep.
Audrey said, yeah, we need a proper GM.
What is that?
Let's see. Matt said Evan's talking Vols and his wife's cleaning up puke. So I think thankfully he did puke in the toilet. Thankfully. This morning we were leaving church and he's walking out and I could tell like he was not feeling it. He was about to puke, and he goes, "I need to get to the bathroom right now." Like that's all he said. And I said, "Are you gonna puke?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I said, there was no way we were gonna make it because we were already outside. There was no way we were gonna get back inside in time for him to do that. But we were near a shaded like private area with a bush, so I was like, "Just go peek behind that bush right there." And the bush is next to a creek. So I thought he was going to turn around. There's a parking lot on the other side of the creek. I thought he was going to turn around and face towards the bush. And that way he was like, private, throwing up behind the bush over there. Instead, he faces towards the creek. So anybody on the other side of the creek sees my son puking. I got to go check on him, make sure he's okay, though. I think I'll be staying here with him tomorrow, I guess. Sanders said, where do y'all see the Lady Vols finishing the SEC next year if they gel and play together? Well, here's the thing. It's kind of tough because I would love to say, I think about this. I would love to say Lady Vols would be a Final Four team next year. I'd love to say that. But you got to understand that still might mean they're fourth in the SEC behind LSU, South Carolina, and Texas. So, I mean, I would love to say they're a top 4 team, but that still might mean they're fourth in the league. So we'll see what happens. Well, I'm going to go check on my son and also check on Ginger. I so wish I had taken a screenshot of that summation before I clicked on it because that was hilarious. No, that was really good. We hope everybody has a great evening. Hopefully no one else throws up tonight. Hopefully. We hope all of you have a wonderful evening. Sandra said she thinks LSU may struggle next year. Like I said, I hope he gets better. Thank you. I appreciate that. I do as well.
I could see LSU having issues. That locker room is not a pleasant place. They've already got internal problems, and all it takes is 1 or 2 extra problems for the whole thing to collapse.
Carl said Evans, poor kid over the toilet saying go Vols. Audrey said the GM would be someone who oversees scouting, talent acquisition, and handles NIL for players.
But see, that's I mean, so when you look down their roster of their support staff, I mean, you've got Scott Altizer, Director of Football Relations. You've got Andrew Goodman, Director of Football Ops. You've got Brooks Halsey, Personnel Analyst. You've got Billy Hyde, Director of Internal and Advanced Scouting. CJ Holden, Assistant Director of Football Ops. Trey Johnson, Director of Recruiting. Donovan Lehman, Personnel Analyst. There's just Brandon Lawson, Director of Scouting. There's just so many people doing so many different things. I feel like Kurt Schmidt, Director of Competition Development. I don't even know what the crap that is. I feel like there's so many guys, and I feel like all that stuff's getting covered.
Let's see here. John said, good night, everybody. Great show as always. Hey, thank you, man. He said, I hope your son gets better, Evan. I appreciate that very much. Sanders said, I hope your son gets better. Thank you. I appreciate that. Like I said, thanks, guys. Night Vol Bros chat fam. Hope you have a great evening, Likey. Audrey said the belly ache's going around. Hope he feels better ASAP. Thank you so much. Hopefully none of the rest of us catch it either. Mississippi Vols said, hope Evan Jr. gets to feeling well. Thank you. I appreciate it. Matt said he was throwing up after the 6th inning tonight. Rhonda said, thanks, guys. Pray that your son feels better. Hopefully you guys don't get it. Thank you. I appreciate it. He said, yeah, Rhonda makes a good point. She said, that's the gift that keeps on giving. Unfortunately, that's right. So hopefully we all avoid it. Sanders said, good night, guys. See y'all Thursday. Hey, we appreciate you, Sanders. Carl said, good night, fellas. Hope your son feels better soon. Some kids should be working the no school angle hard. Yeah.
Mine does that every night, and he's totally healthy.
Working the no scoring on not throwing up.
Yeah.
We appreciate you all so much, man. 491 people watching across all 3 platforms. Y'all are awesome. Thank you so much. We hope you have a great evening. Look forward to seeing everybody Thursday night. Matt said, "Go Vols, baby." That's exactly right. Totally agree. We hope everybody has a great evening. Go Vols, baby. And we will see you all very, very soon.